Welcome, everybody, to episode 118 of Disney with the Ducks. Tonight, you've got me, John Kroll. We've also got Lonnie.
That doesn't translate very well to audio, Lonnie.
You're not the boss of me, Jeff.
Please let the listener note that Lonnie pointed at the camera with both fingers. All right. And we've got Jeff.
Hey, everybody.
All right. So tonight, we're going to ask you a favor like we do every week. If you could please go out, give us a 5-star review, and also come over and join our Facebook group, Disney with the Ducks, so we can have some fun conversations over there. We can grow our community a little bit and, just have some fun, make it a positive place on the internet. I know there's not many of those, but we're going to be the one. Okay. So tonight we're going to ask a question so we can get to know each other a little better and so the listeners can get to know us. And tonight's question is, what was your favorite fast food as a kid? So Jeff, we'll start with you.
McDonald's all the way. You had the play place with the Hamburglar toys outside and the Grimace toys and all the themed slides and play areas. You had the chicken nugget Happy Meals with the actually fun toys back then. I mean, they had like the little Transformers that had the box of chicken nuggets that flipped over into a toy. They had the fun toys that went with it. They had the apple pies that just burned the roof of your mouth beyond belief whenever you first bite into them. We had a good stretch run where they had the pizza, and I really liked the McDonald's pizza. I don't know if that was just a regional thing or if that was nationally rolled out, but
we had it too. I don't remember it, but I know we had it.
Pizza.
I really liked McDonald's pizza. It was kind of a good thing. And they had little boxes of animal crackers. So McDonald's was my go-to whenever I was little, and probably still today.
Interesting. All right, Lonnie, where were you going?
Yeah, like Jeff, McDonald's was the thing to do back then, right? I mean, it had got the Hamburglar, you had Grimace, you had the little cheeseburgers, fries. You always get a little toy. Back then, it was something good in a little box. So we didn't get the pizza, but then again, I'm a lot older than you guys. Maybe they had it when I was older and graduated from McDonald's. Because after a certain amount of time, you realize that you shouldn't be eating McDonald's. I stopped eating it.
Lonnie, when you went to McDonald's, did they have the sign that said 100 served?
It actually said 50 served.
Lonnie was number 50.
Lonnie walked in and they said, "We're up to 53 now, guys."
Oh man.
That's true. That's so true.
All right, so McDonald's was fun, but we can't all pick the same one. I'm gonna go with, okay, so I really loved Hot 'n Now. Did you guys have those by you?
No.
Oh my god, it was like cheap, terrible hamburgers. They had no indoor seating at all, so you just pulled through, and all they served was hamburgers, like single cheeseburger or double or whatever, but that was it. It wasn't like all kind of fancy stuff. It was amazing. And it was right next to the McDonald's in our town, which, so if you'd go to McDonald's and you're all excited about a Happy Meal, but the line's too long, the parents just kind of divert a little bit, go through the Hot 'n Now drive-through, pick up some burgers, go over to 7-Eleven next door, get you a Slurpee, bam. You're right back on track as a kid. But my favorite was always Taco Bell. Like, I loved Taco Bell. And I wish I could eat it now because I would. I just thought everything there was amazing. Lonnie's looking at me like, wow, this dude.
Now I'm like, Hot Now. This never heard of it. It's crazy.
Oh, well.
It's like maybe it was just the Little Caesars or burgers. It's like the Hot and Ready's. You just go up and boom, there it is.
Yeah.
You can get
what it was.
It's Hot and Now.
Yeah. But or Hot N Now, like just the letter N.
Oh, okay.
Like, instead of Hot and.
That makes it fancy.
Hot Now. Yeah. So I'm gonna go with Taco Bell though, because it's Taco Bell.
It'd been nice if they had like beef between them and McDonald's since they're next to each other, and they would fight like an Anchorman in the middle, like an Anchorman, and the different news studios would fight. I would love to see Hot Now and McDonald's.
It would be like David versus Goliath, though. I mean, there's probably one Hot 'n Now open in the country at this point. I think they've all closed.
They had to change the name. It's Warm and Later.
Yeah. So what happened? I think they all turned into like Checkers, and then Checkers rallies, and then they just went out of business.
That makes sense.
So, yeah. All right. So talking about fast food, we're going all the way back in our time machine, or our hot tub time machine, hopefully, back to the 1970s, and we're going to talk about the 1970s Disney movies tonight. So we'll talk about what we think is overrated, what we think is underrated, and what our favorites are. All right. So I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't think I've seen more than 3 of these movies. So I was looking at the list as we were getting ready for the show, and I don't know what any of these are.
Well, a lot of the cartoons during this period were referred to as the Dark Ages for Disney animation. And
Yeah.
I think that kind of gives it a bum rap. I liked a lot of the animation during these times. But
well, you're going to get a chance to talk about it,
Absolutely.
because, I mean, The Biscuit Eater, right? Like, there's a movie called The Biscuit Eater about a dog that eats biscuits.
And who hasn't loved Run Cougar Run?
Right.
I mean, if they make that now, do you imagine what the difference in casting would be? I mean,
you have an old lady running behind people.
Oh man. All right. So I feel like, Lonnie, you probably have the most experience in the 70s.
Since you're the only one alive.
You know what? You're not gonna make me feel bad for being the oldest. I know what you're doing, man. It doesn't work though. Yes, I probably saw all these movies twice because the 70s was my time, man. I was rolling.
So Lonnie, what do you think is one of the more underrated Disney films of the 1970s?
All right, man. So good. I'm going to go later in the 70s, 1979, and that is The Black Hole, right? I know you guys saw that. You had to. In fact, when Disney Plus launched, that was the first movie I went back and watched because I remember it so fondly from when I was a kid, right? So the budget was $20 million. It made 35.8. Unfortunately, it came out right after some big hits from Disney. So that one was kind of underrated. Didn't get the best ratings. But I think, you had Maximilian, the robot there. You had a real all-star group of actors in that movie. And I love the way it ended. Spoiler alert. So The Black Hole would have to be my underrated movie from the 70s.
Wow. And it's based in the year 2130.
Which it is.
Isn't that far away.
It isn't that far away.
Wow.
About 105 years.
Hey, not that.
But remember, so in essence, they were coming back from a deep space mission. So they were gone so long. It'd been around this time anyway, once they woke up from hypersleep. So, yeah.
That sounds really interesting. I usually like movies like that, like Interstellar and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have to go check this one out. That's a good thing about these. Last time when we talked about the 60s movies, there was a couple like that too that I want to go listen to or watch. All right.
And the funny thing, John, I mean, the crazy thing about it, the best character there is Maximilian. In Planet Hollywood in Paris, there's a statue of Maximilian. And I remember when I walked in there, I was like, it's Maximilian. And people looked at me like I was crazy. It's like, and I'm like, yeah, that's from my time. Don't worry about it.
So you really are a fan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. I gotta watch it. Jeff, what do you think is the most underrated film of the 70s?
Underrated, I am going with The Rescuers. You got Bob Newhart and Ava Gabor, who are two little mice set out to save a poor little girl who has to get shoved into a hole to steal a diamond out of a skull. I mean, you got great cast there. Who doesn't love Bob Newhart? And Ava Gabor with her deep accent. It's a great movie. It's got a lot of comedy. You have random animals that help to save the day, just like most of the Disney animation does. Spawned a great spinoff that came along a little bit later into the 80s, maybe early 90s even, with The Rescuers Down Under. But nobody, I think, really appreciates the original there. The Rescuers is very underrated.
Nice.
Okay. Another one I haven't seen.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what's underrated because I don't know any of these. I was just reading. I remember the name, The Cat from Outer Space. So I was trying to read the Wikipedia page and see if it jogged my memory earlier, and it didn't at all. But I know I saw it as a child. So I'm going to go with Aristocats because it's one of the few I've seen. And my kids love Marie, the cat. Carly and Chelsea, since they were like little girls, have loved Marie. I've only watched a couple times with them, and to be honest, I think I fell asleep. But I'm gonna go with that one just because of the characters, and I feel like Marie gets kind of a lot of like love in the parks, but outside of that, nobody really knows who she is. So I'm gonna go with that one. All right. So now let's talk about overrated. Yeah. Overrated, I think, is always easier to pick out.
Right.
So, Jeff, what do you think is the most overrated?
All right.
Disney
My
movie?
hot take for this one is Pete's Dragon is a very overrated Disney movie.
What?
See, there we go. It just the whole premise of the imaginary dragon. It's not really imaginary. He's there, but you can't always see him. The music's okay, but they were a lot of drugs making that movie.
The 70's were a wild time,
right?
And that's Figment, man. That's Figment's cousin,
right? And I'm not saying there wasn't a lot of drugs when they created Figment either. I'm just, I don't like it. I think it gets way too much love. It doesn't do anything for me.
All right, let me ask you this: have you seen the live-action remake?
No, I don't understand how you're doing live-action remakes of a magical mythical dragon.
Okay,
That's not really live-action remake to me. That's just redoing the movie the same way again.
Yeah. Okay. You need to watch that one though. See if you like that one. Was very touching. The live action.
I don't know that I can do it, Lonnie. I have such a disdain for the first one. I don't think I can go and watch a newer version of the same movie.
Fair. Touché.
So we'll see.
Okay. Fair. All right, Lonnie, what do you think is the most overrated one of the 70's?
Okay, hear me out. Follow my train of thought. So when you look at what I think is overrated, I'm going to go with the 1979 classic Alien.
I knew it. I knew it was coming.
When we had our show before, when we talked about the best Disney dads, and I mentioned you guys Kane, played by Sir John Hunt, as being the best dad because he actually fathered and brought in the xenomorphs as he was the first one impacted. But why I say it's overrated, because I love the movie, but why it's overrated is because too much attention was played to Ripley and the cast of the crew and not enough to the xenomorph. I think we could have did more to really expose the background of the xenomorph. I think he was misunderstood. I really do. I think, if anything, he was hanging out on the ship as an egg. Here come these people to come loot, right? They were coming to loot. That's what they were. He was defending himself. I think we could have had a whole backstory of him, his plight, how he came to be aboard the ship, right? So for that reason, I think they should have given more time to him. You literally only saw him maybe a minute of screen time, right? And one of them was the little fake hands coming out. I mean, I think it was because he was on strike at that point. He was climbing through these ductworks the whole time. So I think it was some kind of thing when he asked, it was a union strike because they want unsafe working conditions. I don't know what it was, but anyway. But look, the budget was 11 million. It made 184, and literally just a bunch of different movies, right? A whole franchise from it, and that was on the back of the xenomorph. So for that being said, I think it was overrated because he didn't get enough screen time.
Interesting take.
Some people call it a hot take.
Now, remind me, Lonnie, the xenomorph got some love in The Great Movie Ride, though, correct?
The xenomorph did get some, and once again, what happened? Now it's Mickey and Minnie's Runaway.
But for a long time,
he got some love.
And that is one of those classical smells in that scene that it's a triggering smell from Disney that I can just remember.
Oh yeah. I still remember my daughter being scared when we came across that, come across a little section when they got the alien moving a little bit. She was, terrified. And I said, "Look at it, girl. Look at it. That's the xenomorph. Look at it."
All right. Well, I'm gonna go with Robin Hood as the most overrated. I mean, it's fine. I've seen it. It's okay. The snake creeps me out. I'm gonna be honest. I don't like snakes, and that's a weird one. So, no, I don't know. I think it's okay
My problem with the snake is him holding the balloon.
because he
Like,
doesn't have because snakes don't have arms or hands.
right?
Um, no, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people love that movie, and I've tried and I wanted to like it, but it just didn't capture my attention. Yeah. So I don't know. I know everybody loves it. And again, though, I don't have a lot to choose from because I've only seen a couple of these movies once or twice. So I think I really got to get back into movie watching and get through some of these. All right. So now let's talk about our favorite, though. I'll start. I'm going to say my favorite Disney movie from the 70s is Star Wars. Just Star Wars, not New Hope, because it wasn't a New Hope yet, right? And it wasn't Episode 4 at the time.
Yeah, it was. It was.
It was still called Episode 4.
Yeah, when you go to the scroll, it said 4
at the beginning, in the very first one.
Yeah, you probably were 2 years old when you watched this. So you probably don't remember.
Huh? I don't know about that, but no, I just
my Star Wars knowledge, John.
Yeah, I do actually.
Can we phone a friend to Kevin to get the original?
We're gonna have to ask Kevin about this. But no, I mean, I same as you guys. I mean, I watched that movie as a kid, and I was probably 5 or 6 the first time I saw it, and I thought it was the single coolest thing ever. And when you see, like, just you see the lightsabers going through the air, and just everything about it, the effects were amazing for the time. I can't even imagine seeing it in the theater, when it came out in the late 70s. I just think it spawned obviously so much other things in the Star Wars universe. But no, it was such a fun movie. I don't know. Yeah, now it does.
Was that the original though?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Well,
you're right. Look, last week Jeff corrected me from saying that it was Doug and Russell. So I mean, we do it out of love, man.
Doug and Russell.
Yeah, it's all good.
Okay then. Well, that just destroys my whole thoughts on reality. But no, I just think Star Wars is by far the best. And there was really no other decent movie during the 70s from Disney. Yeah. Yeah. Lonnie, what about you?
I'm gonna agree with you, man. Star Wars. Look, still have fond memories of it. My dad brought me to see it. I still remember the movie theater we were at and me having the popcorn, and it's just one of those things that sticks with you, right? Seeing that scroll, seeing the Death Star come across the screen for the first time. Hey, how about this? Budget was $11 million. It made $775 million. Right.
That's a pretty good ROI.
Big hit. ROI was fantastic. I think it spawned, guys, a whole universe. There's nothing I could say that hasn't been already said about Star Wars. Love it. Favorite movie of the 70s.
All right. Jeff, what do you got?
All right. We all know that Jody is not the biggest movie buff, but one that I'm sure would make the top of her list is the 1979 classic of the Muppet Movie. The Muppet Movie, the original budget for the Muppet Movie, it looks like was about $8 million. It actually brought in, give me 1 second here, $65.2 million. So if we're talking about return on money, that's pretty big.
Yeah.
$31,000 in its first 6 days back in the 70s. So
wow, that I forgot that was a 70s movie.
Barely. It made the cut. It's 1979. It just made the cut. I mean, we learned all about Kermit and the history through there. We traveled by map. I mean, who doesn't love a good travel by map?
Yeah, like Indiana Jones,
right? Just the Muppets are fantastic. That was just like through the mainstream. The Muppet Show was going on in the 70s, right, Lonnie? Correct me. Was that in the 80s? The original Muppet Show.
Yeah, that was in the 70s.
So you already had the Muppets kind of right there, but this movie just boom, there we go. So there were several movies after them over the generations of Muppets Take Manhattan, The Great Muppet Caper, the new Muppet movies, but it all starts with the original one.
Yeah. No, that's an excellent one. That's a good choice too. Awesome. Well, are there any others that you guys want to talk about from the list?
Just some honorable mentions, maybe.
Yeah.
If you have any, go for it.
Give some honorable mentions, yeah.
The Herbie movies. There were several spin-offs.
I knew you was gonna say that.
I love the Herbie movies. The Apple Dumpling Gang.
Yes.
Those were fantastic movies too. Freaky Friday came out in the 70s. With the what was that? Jodie Foster, right? So that was a good one. The Shaggy DA, the sequel to the Shaggy Dog. So I mean, there's Escape to Witch Mountain.
That was a good one,
right?
That was
the original version, not the rock version, but the original version.
Don't forget Freaky Friday. That was one that was big then as well.
Right.
So yeah.
And we already mentioned the classic Run Cougar Run, and the Biscuit Eater.
Winnie the Pooh, The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh.
Right.
Yeah, that's a cute movie.
So there might not have been quite as many that we had through like the 60s, but there were some pretty quality movies that came out in the 70s as well.
Yeah.
No, and that's man. There were some good ones that I remember from being a kid, but still. Like you said earlier, Jeff, they were called the Dark Times for a reason.
Right.
The Dark Ages.
Yeah, Disney kind of took a little bit of a hit during that time as far as Michael Eisner wasn't quite there to get it rerouted and back rolling the way it needed to be yet.
Yeah. Well, luckily on a future episode, we're going to talk about those days coming up.
That's going to be tough.
That's going to be real tough.
Late 80s movies into the 90s with the Renaissance. Yeah. Oh, that's going to be.
Yeah. It's going to be difficult. I'm going to cheat fully in those episodes.
Really?
No, I mean, you wouldn't expect it, but yeah, it's going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, and it got some other ones, right? So you go back into the 70s, you got the Three Musketeers. You got Battle for the Planet of the Apes. We talked about Planet of the Apes coming out in the 60s. Now in the 70s, we got all these spin-offs for the Planet of the Apes. Young Frankenstein, that was out. Hey, how about this one? Silver Streak. Don't forget Silver Streak. Classic movie, came out in the 70s. Richard Pryor. Right? No? You remember Silver Streak? You guys don't remember Silver Streak?
I know Richard Pryor, but not Silver Streak, no.
Was Richard Pryor in Brewster's Millions?
You never saw Silver Streak?
No.
Seriously.
No.
Dude. I'm serious. High Anxiety. Remember High Anxiety? Mel Brooks, right?
Any of the Mel Brooks movies are just fantastic.
That was in the 70s. Yes, I think that was all owned by Fox. Disney owned Fox. So all of those technically are, Disney movies. But man, I can't believe you haven't seen Silver Streak.
No.
Literally.
No. Oh, okay. That other guy's in it too.
Yes. Now my other guy,
Gene Wilder,
who's so Gene Wilder, Richard Pryor, you guys got to see that. It all takes place on the train. You got to see it. That's why I call it Silver Streak. So yeah. Guess what? Budget $5.5 million. It made $51 million. Good ROI on that one. So yeah, you gotta go and see it.
All right. I'm gonna add it to the list along with the Black Hole.
Classic Richard Pryor. Ned Beatty was in it. So it got some people in it.
Right.
All-star cast. All right. We got to check it out.
Yeah.
All right.
That actually started their partnership. Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder started being in a bunch of movies after that.
I don't remember.
Man, you guys missed out not being in the 70s. I'm telling you. It's so funny.
Oh boy. All right. Now we're going to quack you up, or attempt to. We'll do our best. Jeff, you're going to go first.
So the other day, it's springtime, so that you go through and you start cleaning out stuff. Up in the attic, we had a whole box of old records, and we didn't have a record player anymore. Some of them were cracked, some of them were broken. So we just tossed them on the fire with everything else. It was a Disco Inferno.
That one's really good. And it fits the 70s theme.
Right?
I like it. Oh, man. Lonnie, what do you got for us?
I got a little math for you guys. Did you know that statistically, 6 out of 7 dwarves are not happy?
Oh, my. Did you guys know that your pupils are the last part to stop working when you die?
I did not.
They dilate. Oh, boy.
I just want to let you guys know that if Jody was on this recording, all of y'all would be in trouble for y'all movie choices.
I threw out the Muppets. There's not a chance I'd be in trouble.
Nah, but you wouldn't like your other choices, probably.
It doesn't matter. As soon as I threw out the Muppets, we were all set.
Yeah, that's true. That like smooths it over.
Right. No matter what I did prior to that, the Muppets made everything right.
Yeah,
Yep.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah. All right.
Well, should be mad at John instead.
Oh,
Right.
I'm 100% sure. Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, the 70s, they weren't my decade, you know? What else can I say?
Dude, you knew more about the 60s movies than the 70s movies. I don't understand.
Yeah. Which is weird.
It is weird.
Huh.
I don't understand that.
I don't either.
You went back, like, oh, 60s, you're naming off movies. Yeah, I watched that. I saw that. Come to the 70s. I saw stuff.
It was the same. It's the same with music. There's not a lot of music from the 70s that I listen to, but I listen to a lot from the 60s. So
right. I'm the same way, John.
It's weird.
I think it's
right?
the late generation X people. We never got into the 70s.
Yeah. Wait, we're millennials.
Yeah, I don't consider myself.
No, you are because you're younger than me.
I don't.
So.
No.
Yeah. So good luck with that knowledge now that you know you're a millennial.
Nope.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening to the show this week. If you're a millennial, hopefully you didn't take offense to Jeff's remarks. We love millennials. We want you all to join Disney with the Ducks Facebook group. Share some of your thoughts on Disney, maybe thoughts on this episode. If you've seen a movie from the 70s from Disney, come talk about it because
We
clearly, we haven't.
Silver Street. I know. Somebody please come on and say you saw Silver Street.
Oh man. So please give us a 5-star review. And yeah, come over to the group and discuss some of your favorite movies from the 70s. And yeah, with that, Kwaharini.
Everybody.
That's my Star Wars Chewbacca saying bye.
I thought it was Perry the Platypus.
No, that's.
Oh, I clearly tell the difference now.
They're different, yeah. If you play it in slow motion, you'll notice.
You guys are awesome.
Oh, good Lord.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Oops. Where's Lonnie?
I don't know.